We are live from Sutherland Automotive Speedway in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. This is round number 4 of the NASCAR Canada Series on RevTV. I'm Dave Bradley. Joined with me once again is Gary Clute to analyze tonight's action, and Todd Lewis will be joining us very shortly. But Gary, it's been a very quick turnaround for a lot of these drivers, a lot of these teams to go from Edmonton to here in Saskatoon.
Yeah, absolutely. Super quick turnaround. Everyone's got to set up the car for this racetrack, and, well, some guys are doing more work than others. A couple guys are putting new noses on the cars.
Now, let's set things for tonight's race and welcome in the third member of our broadcast team and bring in Todd Lewis.
It's another big crowd here in Saskatoon. Long lineups for autographs for all of these NASCAR Canada Series drivers. And hey, you know, the excitement was so much in Edmonton, a number of fans have chartered a motor coach to get out here to Sutherland Automotive Speedway to be part of the action as well. For teams, it's a busy couple of days. A lot of repairs needed to be done. 47 car had some work to do, the 17 as well. And also the 96, a lot of the damage was self-inflicted, but the team decided they were going to the backup car. Talked to Marc-Antoine Cameron. He said the car feels very similar to their primary car. They're expecting a good run tonight.
And Gary, Todd's got a good point. It's all about getting the cars comfortable for those drivers, and some of those setups are made in the parking lot of a hotel.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows in advance what they're going to do. They either have a good relationship with someone in a shop where they can have a nice level surface, or it's going to be in a hotel parking lot. You know, again, everyone's got to put a wrench on every nut and bolt. You can't have a DNF here. This western swing is so important. And then you've got to set up the cars a little bit different. A little bit faster track, a little bit more banking in the corners, make those minor adjustments.
Yeah, for sure. And some of the stories that we're going to be watching is the rough and tumble racing that did happen in Edmonton, involved 2 drivers predominantly, and the long arm of the NASCAR law came down hard on them just recently.
Yeah, absolutely. Cameron and Lacroix, they mixed it up certainly there. And I think what NASCAR was upset with was it was under yellow when Cameron got back to him. So he ended up with a 6-point penalty, $1,500 fine, and they're both on probation, so they're going to have to be on their best behavior.
Yeah, they'll be tiptoeing probably for a little while until the last lap, as it always tends to happen here in the NASCAR Canada Series. But talk to us a little bit about this facility. You've been here. You've raced on this track. What do you love about it?
Absolutely. Super fun oval. Big, wide oval, great corners, lots of speed, really racy facility. The only nuance is into corner 1. You'll be able to see it on the broadcast, is there's a little bump, so you've got to really be careful under braking there.
It'll be interesting to watch, and there will be a lot of drivers that we're going to be keeping an eye on over the course of tonight's race. And when we return, we will focus on the drivers to watch as we inch closer to the firing of the engines to start the Leland 250 here on Rev TV. As you can see, the field lined up here on the front straightaway, and they are ready to go. 250 laps here at Sutherland Automotive Speedway awaits, and we'll focus in on drivers to watch in just a minute. And welcome back. We're closing in on the start of the Leland 250 here at Sutherland Automotive Speedway. Back again with Gary Clute and focusing in on some drivers that we're going to be keeping an eye on specifically tonight. And one of them has to be the 47 of LP Dumoulin.
Yeah, absolutely. He topped the charts in practice. He had a great qualifying effort. I know for a fact he loves this place. Well, he's got a couple wins here, a handful of top fives. He always enjoys this western swing here, and he's got to have some redemption after Edmonton. They had an issue with the right rear, and it got worse and worse and worse, where it was unreconcilable, and he ended up a handful of laps down. He's going to come out swinging here tonight.
Uncharacteristic off night for the WeatherTech number 47 of LP Dumoulin. So look for him to be fast here tonight at Sutherland Automotive Speedway. But another driver who can almost draw the map to victory lane is DJ Kennington. He's been there 3 times.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he's got a lot of momentum this year. I know for a fact how much he loves this western swing and how much he loves this racetrack. You know, huge momentum, winning in Riverside, leading a good chunk of the Edmonton race before a locker went south on him. So, I mean, in his mind, he's got the car to beat potentially.
And a driver who you could have said was a dark horse coming into this event, but then he uncorked a great race at Edmonton just 1 race ago, and that's Donald Teach.
Yeah, I mean, he's always got that short run speed, but in Edmonton last Saturday night, he really put it all together. Strong P2 finish. So he's really got the hang of that long run car. So he's going to be a guy to watch as well.
And the 4th driver we're going to be keeping an eye on will be leading the field to green. And Kevin Lacroix spoke with our Todd Lewis just a short time ago.
He is the pole sitter for tonight's race. Will lead the field to green here at Sutherland Automotive Speedway. Kevin Lacroix, strong run in Edmonton with a podium finish. You finished 2nd here twice as well. Can you close the deal and get the win tonight?
Hopefully, and also, you know, by history, everybody that has a good day here has a good championship shot. So looking to get the win, and we're starting in a good place for that.
You've been in position to score victories earlier this season. Just hasn't quite happened for you, has it?
Well, yeah, multiple bad lucks, but you know, it can never be bad luck every race. So hopefully it ends today.
Positive attitude. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
All right, Kevin Lacroix will lead this field to green in just a few minutes.
Big smiles on the face of Kevin Lacroix, and he'll be sliding into his car very shortly. When we return, we will start the engines and lead it up to green to start tonight's Leland 250 here at Sutherland Automotive Speedway. Drivers are strapped in and ready to race as the national anthem's just finishing up here on the front straightaway. And we'll get things ready to go here very shortly. There you see Matthew Shirley. We'll give you a full rundown of the starting lineup in moments here for the Leland 250. But this is a point for drivers. You have all of the honorifics out of the way. You've shaken hands with everybody you need to shake hands with. But now the nerves start to pick up, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you know what's in front of you here for sure, and you're strapping in, and you know everyone has their own pre-race ritual. Some guys really think about it and visualize, and other guys the mind goes blank.
Yeah, we focused on Kevin Lacroix, the E3 Sparkplugs Pole Award winner here today, but realistically, the field is so very tight. Time-wise, when you look down through qualifying, it really is just a minor bobble that distinguishes between first place and maybe ninth place.
No, absolutely, and you really only get those 2 laps in qualifying, and if you miss, you might find yourself way out of contention as far as the starting lineup goes.
So we'll take one more quick break before we get things underway here in the Leland 250 at Sutherland Automotive Speedway. The crew's tending to their drivers, and we'll tend to business before we fire the engines here in the NASCAR Canada Series. And welcome back to the NASCAR Canada Series live on Rev TV. You can see the drivers have now made their way into their cockpits, getting all comfortable and set for 250 laps of action here at Sutherland Automotive Speedway. Final checks from the crew members who are allowed on the racing surface as the autograph session is long wrapped up here on the front chute. The fans getting the opportunity to meet their favorite drivers. There you look at Matthew Shirley. And now let's go down to the trackside for tonight's command. Rob Howlett from Sutherland Automotive Speedway giving the command to fire the engines here in the NASCAR Canada Series. And that lovely rumble here on the front straightaway is music to the ears of the fans who have packed in here today.
Absolutely. When you're a fan sitting in the stands, you cannot help but smile when they finally fire up the engines. You know you're in for a show.
A couple of the newcomer drivers just getting a little bit of last-minute action from crew members. Window nets going up, just making sure those belts are tight because they won't have an opportunity. We failed to mention this off the top. This is a brake race once again, similar to what we had in Edmonton. So strategy not necessarily a big part of it here tonight.
No, absolutely. You hope everything is going smoothly and you know that you're going to get that caution. It takes a little bit of anxiety out of the whole program for the team.
And there you can see the NASCAR officials indicating that all cars have fired. The drivers are ready to go. Kevin Lacroix on pole in that new livery that was debuted in Edmonton, but this is the 4th race of 12 in the 2025 season. Of course, we had a couple where Mother Nature came into play and unfortunately delayed them until later in the season. One at Sunset Speedway, another one at Autodrome Chaudière. So race number 3 was in Edmonton, which is normally the midway point of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. So a little bit different this year, and you know, everyone harps on the stats that you've got to have a good Western swing. Well, maybe not so much this year. Maybe you can redeem yourself later in the season with those 2 extra races.
And one of the things, you have Calabogie coming up, expecting a big field there. That's going to be our next stop on the 2025 calendar here in the NASCAR Canada Series. So, yeah, those are sort of the races where you have to put all the pieces together as well.
Yeah, really, Calabogie could be that kind of linchpin race where if you have an issue, you know, you're not finishing 15th, 16th, you might be finishing 24th, 25th.
And that's a big, big hit in the points for some of these drivers. And as we mentioned off the top, the points are very, very tight. And you can see by virtue of that penalty to Marc-Antoine Cameron, we have a dead heat at the top between DJ Kennington and Cameron. A couple of drivers who have visited Victory Lane.
No, absolutely. It's going to be a showdown tonight for those guys.
And then you look, Andrew Ranger to Kevin Lacroix, just 1 point. Ryan Vargas, the rookie, is in there too, in 5th, just a handful of points back. So it is still anybody's game at this point in the season, and that's what makes the NASCAR Canada Series so exciting. And there you look, the starting lineup. Look at where the GM Paya, number 96, of Marc-Antoine Cameron, is in the field. And again, struggles in qualifying just a little bit. Might have had that little bobble, but now he's got to come up through the field.
Yeah, you might chalk it up to a bobble. You might chalk it up to, hey, that's their backup car. He might just be shaking it down. You know, maybe really just working on that long run speed, and they didn't really work hard on the qualifying run in practice.
It looks like the 10 of Rob Naismith, who's set to make his first start in the NASCAR Canada Series, going to require a push to get going here in that Chevrolet on the front straightaways. That's the reason for the short delay as now the field starts to roll. So let's take a look at your starting lineup. We talked about Kevin Lacroix on pole. How about Jason Hathaway, a big pickup from practice?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he's going to be one to watch here. He's always got that long run speed. He works on his car. He knows the changes to make midway. He's going to be good.
DJ Kennington, always good here. He's one of the drivers we're going to be focused on in the Castrol Edge, number 17. Donald Teege in the 80, again, with that great run in Edmonton. This is a place he's won at before. He'd love to visit Victory Lane again.
Absolutely.
LP Dumoulin, fastest in practice in the 47. He'll start to the inside of row number 3. And Matthew Kingsbury in the 9. Solid qualifying effort from that driver.
Absolutely. Great effort from him.
Then we look back to row number 4, and that's where we find the rookie, Ryan Vargas out of California, and your co-points leader coming into tonight's event, the number 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron, one of 2 drivers on probation tonight.
Absolutely. Look to him for making some moves.
Late model racer here in Saskatoon is Matthew Shirley behind the wheel of the 46, and Andrew Ranger, who has won here in the past. He'll have to come from deep back in the field. He's starting on the outside of row number 5, and then final row is all by himself, and that is the rookie, the 10 of Rob Naismith, who is making his very first start in the NASCAR Canada Series. It's a pretty daunting feeling, though, isn't it, when you're making your first start against some of these drivers that, you know, you look at champions from the past and present. You've got Cameron, you've got Kennington, you've got Lacroix. They're so aggressive on the track, and you're out there for your first time. The nerves must be just rifling through your body.
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing really is that level of intensity that you're just not used to. You go out in the field, even in practice, in qualifying, and in the race, just everyone is 100% intense and fighting at all times for every inch.
This is such an interesting track, though, and you talked about it a little bit during our opening, that there's clearly 2 grooves, maybe in some cases 3 grooves, depending on how worn out the general tires get over the course of a run, but you can really pass at will. There's no need to necessarily bump and run like we saw at Edmonton.
Yeah, it's not absolutely essential, but you know, again, you're probably going to see it. You know, if your car's working on the bottom and the guys in front of you on the bottom, you're going to try and pass them on the bottom, and there's only one way to do that.
Saw Naismith pull that number 10 car down pit lane, so he might miss this start, his very first, as the rest of the field will line up 2 by 2 down the back straightaway. And it is Kevin Lacroix in the Valvoline number 74, and the 3 Leland-backed entry of Jason Hathaway in front of a huge crowd of Leland supporters. Byron Nelson, the owner of Leland, always brings a big gathering of people here as we get set to get underway here in the Leland 250 at Sutherland Automotive Speedway. Nose to tail on the bottom, top 3, and now you have Donald Teague still hanging in that outside groove in the Gavois number 80 as he battles alongside the 17 of DJ Kennington. It's not, you don't see the level of urgency that you did in Edmonton to get to the bottom. Drivers are happy to sort of hang out up high for a little bit and see where their car settles in. Leader continues to be the driver from St. Eustache, Quebec, Kevin Lacroix, with the 3 of Jason Hathaway, DJ Kennington. Now Donald Teague is starting to pick up the pressure a little bit more on the 17 of Kennington, but this is exactly what we would have expected, just settling in, running single file for the first few laps here in a long 250-lap race. As LP Dumoulin moves to the inside of the Duraking number 9 of Matthew Kingsbury. So move the WeatherTech Dodge up 1 spot.
Yeah, and throw a blanket over, the first 4 guys there. They are nose to tail.
And it seems everybody's just happy to run at this point. It's just, you work in through, you've got your nerves out of you, the green flag is dropped, and now the crew chief is telling you, just settle in, protect those general tires, and make them last as long as possible. And as we say that, the 4-car dice at the front is about to become a 5-car battle.
Yep, absolutely. And your crew chief is also telling you, hey, what's the car doing? Give me feedback right now. Run some decent laps so we know what to do when the break happens. We know there's going to be a break here.
So the top 4 still all single file. There's Matthew Shirley in the Prussian Dodge. That car also prepared out of the DJ Kennington camp. As a matter of fact, Kennington with 3 cars coming out of his shop in this event. Ryan Vargas is the other driver in the DJK car. In the critical path security number 28, running mid-pack there. But you can see it was a 4-car breakaway. And I don't know if Kevin Lacroix might have backed up a little bit, or everybody else decided we don't want to let them get away.
No, Dumoulin is, he's there now. It's 5 cars for sure. His car is really coming to life.
Jason Hathaway is the driver in this group who has yet to win here at Sutherland Automotive Speedway. Leland number 3. And a good look as they work down into turn number 1 and through 2 down onto the back straightaway. You can see the opening down the back chute, and it almost makes you feel like the wall juts out down the back chute. It doesn't. It is straight, but for some of these drivers, they get very, very close to it.
No, absolutely, and you've certainly seen guys hit that wall in the past.
So this is exactly what we expected in the early going here, just setting a pace and settling in. As you see Teague, a little bit of a bobble in 1 and 2, and that's all it took. It was about a 3-car length gap going into turn number 3, and Teague didn't want to let him get away. He drove it in a ton to catch back up to DJ Kennington, but it may be the first sign of an ill-handling race car for the Gavois number 80 of Donald Teague, something we will keep an eye on.
Yeah, I caught a couple glimpses there. It looks like he's got to drive that car a little bit harder than the front 3 guys.
And he's up about half a groove, too, something the other drivers ahead of him not doing, especially in 3 and 4 anyway, the 80 car. Watch him as he heads down into turn number 3. You see Kennington, Hathaway, and Lacroix right on the bottom, and yeah, Donald Teague is up just a little bit. So what does that indicate to you as a driver? If you're searching for a new groove this early in a run, what are you feeling out of your race car?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends kind of how the entry is, but car could be a little bit tight, and then you see it come, a little bit loose off. So he's giving it the steering wheel, and it's not turning as hard as he wants it to.
That one car that is turning pretty hard just in that battle with him. We'll pick that up in just a minute, but this is the top three now starting to break away. Lacroix, Hathaway, and Kennington. Some grizzled old veterans here in the NASCAR Canada Series as LP Dumoulin does get alongside in a battle for fourth spot underneath Donald Teach. There you can see it on the top of your screen as Lacroix can through to complete lap number 20. And there is the example of how nice this track is and how you're able to battle along the outside, even if you have a car that may not be handling as well as you hoped it would. Donald Teach able to find a groove up at the outside, and it's working just fine.
Yeah, it's going to take a handful of laps for Dumoulin to get by him. It's not like Edmonton where you get to the bottom and it's a done deal. Look at Teach out there really rolling the center of that corner.
Interesting to look back through the field. Marc-Antoine Cameron in the number 96. Again, coming into this one, your co-points leader, tied for top spot in the points with DJ Kennington. He still sits in 8th spot. The fellow GM Paye sponsored number 27 of Andrew Ranger just behind him in 9th. So not coming up through the field as quickly as some might have expected out of both of those drivers who have had great success here in the past. As Naismith goes a lap down to your race leader. Naismith is a driver out of right here in Saskatchewan, making his first start, as we mentioned. The driver of a pro truck here at Sutherland Automotive Speedway, champion in 2022, as a matter of fact. So got himself a NASCAR Pinty Series car and makes his debut here today. So no doubt a big learning curve and just trying to learn the ropes. It's a big event if you haven't done it before, so there's a lot of things you do have to learn.
No, absolutely, and these cars are just so unique to drive, so much different than what he's used to, so he's just going to log laps and get comfortable here.
Look at that, though. The battle for fourth spot between Donald Teach, who was using the outside, has gone back to the driver of the 80. So LP Dumoulin had the inside lane, but that didn't equal the position changing hands as LP Dumoulin slides back into 5th, although just barely behind the driver of the 80. That's a battle between 4th and 5th on the track. Donald Teach back up into 4th. 5th, LP Dumoulin, and then Matthew Kingsbury. Ryan Vargas, Cameron, Ranger, and Matthew Shirley round out the top 10 in your running order right now. That's that battle for 4th that we were talking about. You can see Teach jumped up to that outside groove, and he seems to really like it. That car came back alive in the Gemlock Construction Chevrolet as we've got caution on the field for the first time. We'll slow things down here on lap 30. So we'll take a quick moment as NASCAR brings out the pace car for the first time here in the Leland 250. We'll gather the field and set things back for you. We'll take a quick break. You're watching NASCAR Canada Series live on RevTV. Welcome back to Sutherland Automotive Speedway.
Welcome back to Sutherland Automotive Speedway. Battle has resumed after that brief caution for debris out on track, and the battle has resumed between LP Dumoulin in the 47 and the 80 car of Donald Teague. Just checked in with the 47 team, and LP Dumoulin obviously much happier than he was in Edmonton a few days ago. They understand that it is a long way to go. Also checked in with the 96 team of Marc-Antoine Camberan, who started at the back. He's okay with the car, feels a little bit loose right now, according to crew chief Robin McCluskey. They will make adjustments as they go along.
Thanks very much, Todd. And we have a battle for the lead up at the front. Jason Hathaway has found some magic in that upstairs groove in the Leland number 3.
And you've got the 80 down below DJ Kennington there. He gave him a little shove, and now he's got the bottom.
Yeah, so Kevin Lacroix down low on Jason Hathaway. Battle side by side for third spot. And again, contact between Donald Teague and DJ Kennington as LP Dumoulin just hangs back and says, I'll let you guys figure it out, and I'll pick up the spoils when they come. But the battle for the lead, they're actually stretching a gap as they run side by side. Kevin Lacroix on the inside, but Jason Hathaway continues to click off laps at the front of the field. Yeah,
Hathaway's clearly making good speed out there on the outside. What a testament to how racy this track is. You love to see it.
Yeah, Hathaway has never won here, as we mentioned. He's finished second on a couple of occasions, both in 2014 and 2015, coming off a 5th place finish last year, and now he pulls clear in front of the Valvoline number 74 of Kevin Lacroix, but I don't think he wants to pull back down. He's up there in that high groove, and he said, this is working well for my Chevrolet.
No, absolutely. He's going to try the whole racetrack and see where he makes the most speed.
It'll be interesting to see if Kevin Lacroix looks up and says, maybe my car might work a little bit better, and put the Napa Auto Parts Valvoline number 74 to the back bumper of the 3 car, and he might just suggest that Jason Hathaway stay up in that outside groove.
Absolutely. He's trying again on the bottom. You know, Hathaway's really drifting up early on the exit of the corners there, and the 74 can get a nose in.
Yeah, as we see this wide shot now, you've got the 2 battles, the battle for the lead and the battle for third. Donald Teague, the Gavois number 80, still trying to pace down low, but he has DJ Kennington in the Castrol Edge Dodge up about a groove and a half. So there's DJ Kennington using that extreme outside line just because Teague is having some trouble pinching, especially here in 3 and 4.
Yeah, again, DJ's making the outside line work, and he's going to go clear of the 80.
Now look at LP Dumoulin. He's getting racy. Tucks it to the inside, right along that yellow curbing, and it is just a small curb there. It's not much of a bump for these drivers to touch, but if you do touch it, it will upset your car a little bit.
Yeah, you certainly don't aim to do that.
Not like brother road courses, you bang off curbs to get through the turns in some cases. Here you want to be smooth, and that's what Jason Hathaway has been doing in that outside groove. And now, as we complete lap 50 of a scheduled 250 here at Sutherland Automotive Speedway, we do have Jason Hathaway up in front of the driver from St. Eustache, Quebec, Kevin Lacroix. Good look at the entire field as they come sliding through, and that's the beauty of these NASCAR Canada Series cars, and that shot really shows you how much these cars like to travel on the racetrack. They're not pasted into the racetrack like you would say a super late model or something like that. These cars move around quite a bit.
No, absolutely. You've got to be comfortable in these cars with them squirming a little bit, and that's the bias ply tires. You don't have a big, thick sidewall. The cars really move around underneath you, and you've got to be comfortable letting them do that.
So Hathaway in the Fast Eddie Speedwear Choco Leland number 3 slots in behind the 74, so a little bit too much to keep your pole sitter at bay. So Kevin Lacroix moves back to the top spot. DJ Kennington has used the high groove to get back around the number 80 of Donald Teague. So there you go. The drivers that were 1, 2, and 3 just before we went to that caution are back in that 1, 2, 3 groove.
Look at the 28 of Ryan Vargas there. He's just hanging tough. He's learning. He's never been here before. He's doing a great job out there.
Yeah, you look at his best time compared to the leader, and it's less than a tenth off that pace. So Vargas doing very, very well. And he is leaning a lot on DJ Kennington for advice, for experience. Just what do you do? How do you get around here? And Vargas himself has a lot of experience in other cars, maybe just not NASCAR Canada Series cars.
Yeah, you've got to be, intentional how you drive these race cars, and there's almost no one better than DJ to give you a couple quick tips and bring you right up to speed.
Yeah, we talked about Ryan Vargas in the first race off the top of the season, going to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, but you have to remember every single track is new to him. And he's learning as he goes, but he's showing great speed. He's already stepped on the podium. He did that at Riverside in race number 2. So the top 2 stretching out a big gap on the rest of the field here in the Leland 250, and the rest of the field is led by DJ Kennington. And Donald Teege with LP Dumoulin still trying to get that bite on the inside line, but as he tries to get under power, you just see a little wiggle out of the tail end of that WeatherTech Dodge.
No, absolutely. This whole group of 5 guys, they're not content. They see the leaders driving off. They're going to have to go to work during the break and make these cars a little bit better. And as I say that, just as you'd expect, the 96 coming to life here and catching this group.
Yeah, so there's LP Dumoulin, completes that pass for 4th position around the Gavois number 80 of Donald Teege, who tries to pinch it back down so he doesn't lose more than 1. As Ryan Vargas follows in line behind him, but still the leaders, and there you can see how big that gap is. It's almost a full straightaway. Back from Jason Hathaway to DJ Kennington. Hathaway in 2nd, Kennington in 3rd right now. As you can see where your favorite driver is running across the top of your screen with the man-made ticker rotating through. Lacroix leading Hathaway, Kennington, Dumoulin, and Teege. That's your top 3. And now it looks like Marc-Antoine Cameron likely talked to the crew, and they said, you know what? Just start moving up through the field now if you feel comfortable, and it sounds like he feels comfortable. No surprise to see that GM Paye number 96 moving up. Let's head down pit side for a Pinty's Pit Report and check in with Todd Lewis. Todd?
A little update on the 27 car of Andrew Ranger. He has been struggling with an electrical or power issue of some sorts that they've been battling. It actually first surfaced in Edmonton. Etienne Gleesh told me they made a lot of changes to the car. They made some more after practice today, but they still don't think that they have it licked. They are down on power, and that's why he has been backsliding in the field. They hope to try to diagnose it as quickly as they can.
And that's interesting. They will have 5 minutes during that break at halftime, and that gives them a little bit of time, but that's really not a lot.
Yeah, they're going to have to come up with a game plan and make as many wholesale changes as they can and really just pray. And this is not a track you want to be down on power. This is a fast track with 2 big straightaways.
Yeah, currently Andrew Ranger sitting in 8th spot behind the 28 of Ryan Vargas, but Etienne Gleesh was the Etienne that Todd was mentioning, and he's the overseer of that team, both Andrew Ranger and Matthew Kingsbury. And he's a smart guy in the NASCAR circles, of course, hired up from the United States, and has been working with those teams and has really brought them along very quickly.
No, absolutely. I mean, Ranger has been right on pace last year, having some great results. Their oval program is right back up to pace, and hopefully they can figure it out during this break.
Look at Dumoulin now sneaking up through the field, up into 3rd spot as he's managed to get around the Castrol Edge Dodge of DJ Kennington. The driver who was quickest in practice bobbled just a little bit, and again we talk about just the minor bobbles that you could have made in qualifying. Set the 47 back mid-pack for the start of this race, but it looks like that WeatherTech Dodge has been set up for the long run here at Sutherland Automotive Speedway as he now tries to track down your race leaders, but I mean, he's got about a 4-second gap to make up to the number 3 of Jason Hathaway ahead of him.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of this break race. If you're the 47, you're just going to be content there. You're going to cruise. You know there's a yellow coming out. It's going to stack the field up again, and you get one more shot at it, hopefully with a slightly faster car after some adjustments. Cameron
now working underneath the 17 of DJ Kennington. Kennington was up in that outside groove in that battle with Donald Teege for a little while, and he did manage to get back around the 80 of Donald Teege, but now sliding back a little bit. So Some question marks around that green and white number 17 of Kennington, who led at the halfway mark in Edmonton, was poised for a great finish, still managed to come home with a top 5 despite a broken rear end in that car after we did find out after that event had finished.
And DJ's so good at that, you know, never giving up, overcoming adversity, and squeezing out every last point he can from whether it's a mechanical issue or an ill-handling car. He's going to make the most of the day.
And Rick Reburn once again taking over the crew chief duties of the 17 of DJ Kennington. So no doubt they'll be talking back and forth, trying to diagnose if they do have a problem. It could just be handling has gone away a little bit quicker than they expected in the 17, but that's a storyline again. One of the drivers we were going to focus on, or had been focusing on, since the top of the show. And another one of those drivers is the 74 of Kevin Lacroix, who started on pole. He lost the lead after that restart to Jason Hathaway. He took it over again using that inside groove, and Hathaway has kept him honest, though. He's not going away.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting to become evident. The 74 just lunges off the corner. You look here, his drive off is so good, whereas Hathaway's fighting the car a little bit, and that's going to only be amplified over the course of this run.
And watch those two cars especially, as we'll watch them come through 3 and 4 as they head into turn number 1. And you talked about it when we were looking at the track map off the top of the show. Watch them hit the bump. Lacroix, you can barely see it. When Hathaway hits it, the back end really starts to bounce and hop.
Yeah, and that's just kind of the nature of it. You see that car in front of you drive away a little bit, and you see Hathaway really charging the corners, trying to make it up on entry, and then loses a little bit on exit.
So Dumoulin now with a mirror filled with GM Paye branding, and it's the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron. This is a battle for 3rd spot now, as Cameron restarted in 8th position. Todd mentioned it was a backup car coming into this one. The car that he drove at Edmonton, too badly damaged. Maybe after some fireworks that happened in that last caution, but either way, the 96 has a very stout backup car, as he's showing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. You see it in comparison to the 47. He's just able to drive the car in there deep, and it looks super stable.
And that's the thing about today's teams in the NASCAR Canada Series. You know, primary car, backup car, it's not necessarily car A versus car B. It's car A1 versus car A2. They're equal pieces of machine.
Yeah, that's the nature of it. You know, these guys are putting in so much effort that you don't want to have that sinking feeling pulling a backup car off the trailer. You want to be able to pull a backup car off the trailer and say, hey, we're going to go compete just as we would any other day.
Be confident in your equipment, and that's exactly what Marc-Antoine Cameron is. J.C. Paye, of course, the owner of that team, provides Marc-Antoine Cameron with very competitive equipment every time he hits the track here in the NASCAR Canada Series. They're here to win. They have won championships in the past, looking to do that again here in 2025. As you see the leader starting to work into more and more lap traffic. You saw Rob Naismith in the black number 10 tucked to the inside, but now it gets into a little bit more difficult lap traffic. Matthew Kingsbury in the Dura King number 9 just ahead. So Kingsbury may put up a little bit more of a fight to try and keep the leader at bay and not go a lap down.
No, absolutely. You're going to fight. Oh, and there he was, driving it in real hard, and it got away from him.
Boy, he had to gather it up. A handful of steering wheel for Matthew Kingsbury. He did gather it back up. He'll tuck in behind the race leader. So now he hopes to stay there, being the first driver 1 lap down. And in the event of a caution, will get the free pass award and get put back onto the lead lap. But I'm not sure Kevin Lacroix is done putting cars a lap down. 91 laps in the books now as the Valvoline Napa number 74 showing great speed. And Kevin Lacroix talking with our Todd Lewis off the top of the show after securing the E3 Sparkplugs Pole Award. Confidence, smile on his face, relaxed, and when you have a Kevin Lacroix that is all of those things, you have a very fast Kevin Lacroix here in the NASCAR Canada Series.
No, absolutely. He knew that he had a good car here, and it's clearly showing that car is on rails.
Matthew Shirley in the Crush It number 46 just ahead. You saw a flash of the blue and yellow back bumper of the Number 46, driven by Saskatchewan native Matthew Shirley. And again, a driver of late models here at Sutherland Automotive Speedway. As a matter of fact, he participated in a late model race just last night, finishing on the podium in 3rd spot. So it's a big jump to go from a late model to one of these cars. As we talked about, the handling is much, much different. But Shirley is just relishing every single start he gets in this series.
Yeah, he's doing a great job keeping that car clean and running very good laps.
So we can tell you that Cameron has taken over 3rd spot around the 47 of LP Dumoulin. DJ Kennington still holding down 5th. Vargas and Donald Teach and Andrew Ranger. There's the GM Pioneer number 27, just ahead of Matthew Shirley. And again, they're fighting some sort of mechanical gremlin, either an electrical issue or down on power here at Sutherland Automotive Speedway. And Andrew Ranger is watching the leader come and could potentially be putting that 27 car lap down as the leader goes around Matthew Shirley in the number 46.
Yeah, Ranger's got to be frustrated with the lack of pace there on the straightaway, and yeah, nothing worse than seeing the leader come in your mirror there.
Yeah, and he was just trying to hang on, as Todd mentioned, to that halfway break, and hopefully they could diagnose that issue and make the necessary repairs. But you know who is just ahead of the 27, and a driver who has fallen off fairly rapidly is the Gavois number 80. There's the flash of the red car of Donald Teach. And again, one of those drivers that we were watching off the top of the show, driver who has won here in the past, was looking very quick in practice and qualifying, and quick short runs, long runs not so much for that team again today.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to have to go to work during the break and really bring that car back to life.
Matthew Shirley trying to take advantage of the open door from the leader as the Crush It Dodge goes to the inside of Andrew Ranger. So that is a battle for position. It's a battle for 8th spot on the racetrack between Shirley and Andrew Ranger as they watch the leader start to stretch a bit of a gap on this dice for the 2nd spot, or the 8th spot, as the 2nd place driver just in behind, about a straightaway in behind, is Jason Hathaway. But still comfortably out in front is Kevin Lacroix as we continue under green. We'll take a quick break. You're watching the NASCAR Canada Series on RevTV. Welcome back. It is the driver from Saint Eustache, Quebec, Kevin Lacroix, with about a 3.5-second lead over 2nd place Jason Hathaway as we chip away and near the halfway mark. And that will bring about the halfway break and an opportunity for some of these drivers to catch their breath, as we've had an extremely long green flag run.
Yeah, long green flag run. And what I'm looking forward to here is if you look down the running order, you see the 96 up to third. I want to see him go head-to-head with the 74 again.
Potentially some fireworks, maybe not. Both drivers put on NASCAR probation after the fireworks that emerged from the race in Edmonton on the short track there. But you know, both of them have memories, and both of them would like to get maybe just a little bit even. But Donald Teach is next up on the docket for Kevin Lacroix, your race leader, as Lacroix eases it through 1 and 2 down low, and he's able to make that car work much better in that lower groove for considerably longer than anybody else out there.
Yeah, that car just looks so good, especially in comparison to the 80 there. The car does everything he asks of it.
There is the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron as he moves around the Duraking number 9 of Matthew Kingsbury, and the 27 of Andrew Ranger just ahead. Of course, Ranger is a lap down to your race leader. Cameron sitting in third spot, as Gary mentioned just a short time ago. So the GM Paye co-sponsored cars, not prepared out of the same shop, just painted almost the same and running the same livery. But there is definitely a battle between those two teams. Each want to come out on top at every single event.
For sure, for sure.
Look, competition.
And look at the pace of the 74. That car is just stuck to the racetrack. Everyone else is working their butt off out there, and he's on cruise control. DJ
Kennington way up. He's running the Captain Highliner line here at Sutherland Automotive Speedway. Look at that. He's about 2.5 grooves way up there. Now Donald Teach is going hunting up in that same DJ Kennington groove here today, trying to make those cars turn just a little bit better. And it's not necessarily a bad thing when you're up there. The banking helps you. It is progressive banking here at Sutherland Automotive Speedway. You have 7 degrees on the bottom, 9.5 degrees in the middle, and up to 11 degrees at the high side. So you use that banking, you pitch the car, and you get a drive out. So it's not a bad thing, is it?
No, it's not a bad thing. If you can make your car work anywhere on the racetrack, you know you've got a good car, but you really need to have the car working on the bottom. You've got to be able to make passes on the bottom and on the top.
That's exactly what Kevin Lacroix has been able to do in the Valvoline number 74 as he tucks underneath the Castrol Edge Dodge to battle the oil companies here in the NASCAR Canada Series. And this one will go to the 74 of Kevin Lacroix as he moves the Castrol Edge Dodge 1 lap down. And it wasn't too long ago that those two were battling for position. So where's DJ Kennington in the running order? He's sitting in 6th. So Kevin Lacroix has lapped up to the 5th place car. That is a phenomenal pace, as the next time by will bring about lap 125. And so at any moment, NASCAR can throw the caution to indicate the halfway break.
Yeah, and I don't see, they normally wait for a battle to resolve, but I don't see any real battles on the track right now, so we could expect that any time now.
So they'll just be settling in, make sure the scoring is right, and you're right, even the leader doesn't have a lap car ahead of him, so Kevin Lacroix continues to pace and click off laps, and he really has been on cruise control. Just a dominant force here at Sutherland Automotive Speedway through the first 127 laps now completed of a scheduled 250 here in the Leland 250. All credit, though, to Jason Hathaway. He's almost 4.2 seconds back from the race leader, but he's settled nicely into 2nd spot in that number 3 car. And here is the caution for the halfway break. And so that will slow the field, give the opportunity for all drivers to head down pit lane to make adjustments, and some of these drivers will be pleading for them. So when we return here on Rev TV, we'll get a chance to see pit stop action in the NASCAR Canada Series. And welcome back to the Leland 250 here at Sutherland Automotive Speedway. You can see the field lined up along pit road as we have hit the halfway break here in this 250-lap race. Let's head down pit side for Pinty's pit report. Check in with Todd Lewis. Todd?
Signal has just been given by the NASCAR officials to begin work during this 5-minute break. Fuel goes in first. Most teams are just about completed that, and now it's going to be 2 right-side General tires that will go on. Watching the 74 of Valvoline car of Kevin Lacroix, checked in with the team. They said, yes, we'll put 2 tires in it. We'll fill it full of fuel, and then we're going to leave it alone. He is incredibly happy with that car. Just behind him in the 17, DJ Kennington. That car started to get very tight about halfway through that first part of this Leland Industries 250, and they'll be making adjustments. Jason Hathaway also will be making some adjustments, but very pleased with the handling of his car in general. Same thing with the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron. The car was a little bit loose, started off a little bit loose, but then started to get better as that long run went along. They'll be making some adjustments as well. The 47 of LP Dumoulin, they realized that they had to step up after last week in Edmonton. They have done so. It's an improved car, and they have something to say in the second half of this race.
Look at the changes going on. The Duraking number 9 of Matthew Kingsbury. Those are wholesale changes. The 27 of Andrew Ranger also up on jack stands as they continue to diagnose the problems there. So big operations happening along pit lane here in this halfway break as the clock continues to tick down. We'll take another quick break before we return for more green flag action here on Rev TV. And welcome back to the NASCAR Canada Series live on Rev TV. You saw when we went to break that car there of Matthew Kingsbury was up on jack stands, and the crew was measuring stagger on some of those tires. Huge changes happening to that car. So an ill-handling race car for Matthew Kingsbury, trying to get it sorted. And when we go back to green, it will be a good opportunity for him to test. But again, only 2 tires allowed to be changed under this break. Let's head back down pit side and check in once again with Todd Lewis with his Pinty's Pit Report.
We can give you an update on that 9 car of Matthew Kingsbury. Checked in with the team. Brakes, the problem. That's why they had all 4 tires off, and that was part of the ill handling that Matthew Kingsbury had to deal with. They still have the 27 car of Andrew Ranger up on jack stands on the left side. They are replacing the battery as part of the trying to diagnose those electrical issues and down on power issues for Andrew Ranger. But with a 5-minute break, that does give them time. Looks like they're just finishing buttoning that back up, so he should be able to return in his proper starting order. Everybody else's service is done. Now they start to line up the vehicles as we get set for the second half of the Leland Industries 250.
Now, as a crew coming into an event like this, how much do you practice something like that? Did you take a look at how long it's going to take us to change a battery when you're in the shop, or is it just all line of fire when it happens?
It's all line of fire. You know, you put your most talented, quickest mechanics on it, and you've got one guy maybe with tight little gloves on so he can use the dexterity there, but that's a trick.
For sure it is. So the positions as it stood coming into the halfway break, and the red flag, Kevin Lacroix has been so dominant, has led nearly the entire way. The only other driver to take top spot was Jason Hathaway, who paced the field for a little while. Marc-Antoine Cameron moved up from the back of the pack to 3rd spot. LP Dumoulin has taken a trip in the top 3. Ryan Vargas has been running very consistently. DJ Kennington and Donald Teach were at the front. They faded a little bit, so we'll see if they can make some changes to come back.
Yeah, absolutely. DJ being the first guy a lap down there. But again, like I said earlier, what I'm most excited for is to see the field bunch up and the 96 go to work, see what kind of pace he has in comparison for the top 2 guys.
Interesting to see the number 46 of Matthew Shirley there in that Crush It Iced Tea Dodge. He is sitting in 8th spot. That, if the race were to end right now, would be his career best finish in the NASCAR Canada Series. And he would be elated with that. It was great to see. It brought that team out. DJ had his car out at Denray Tire. They had a big event in the lead up to this event too. So a little bit of sponsorship promotion there and promotion for the race as well. These drivers just they like showing off their cars and like bringing fans to the stands.
100%. That's it's part of the Western swing there. You know, if you get your work done in time, you've got a little bit of time to help promote the race.
So Kevin Lacroix will take his spot back up at the front. Driver, actually, Kevin Lacroix has never won here as well in the 74. He's finished 2nd on a couple of occasions. As a matter of fact, came home in the runner-up position just last year. So we'll see if the driver of the 74 can improve that by 1 step on the podium, as all cars have rejoined the pack, and now you go to work trying to build up the heat in the general tires. And what's interesting here, and that is a little bit of a change here in 2025 compared to other brake races, 2 tires compared to 4. Under old circumstances, it was always a 4-tire stop. Now we go to two tires. How much does that affect things? You have a full heat cycle in your left side tires.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit different than taking four tires for sure, but like I always say, you never go slower putting any amount of new tires on, so you're welcome those right side tires.
Yeah, for sure. You always feel like Superman when you got some brand new General tires on the right sides of these cars, and we'll see how well they work. Who hit the right combination during the halfway break, as we'll line them up double file down the back straightaway, looking for green once again here at Sutherland Automotive Speedway in the Leland Industries 250. As Kevin Lacroix, Jason Hathaway will pace them slowly through 3 and 4. You can see the rest of the field bunching up in behind. Oh, look who's just in behind Kevin Lacroix there. It's the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron as we work through the Pinty's restart zone and get back underway. Good start for Cameron as he holds the inside lane. Might have made a little contact there with the 3 of Jason Hathaway, but backed out of it. Hathaway gathered it back up and got back down to the inside here in 1 and 2. And now it's Hathaway doing a little bumper tag on your race leader. The 74 of Kevin Lacroix is hanging on as Hathaway is getting aggressive in second.
Yeah, going into corner 1 there, you really see those bumps affect the back of the 3, a lot less so on the 74.
But the top 2 Definitely the class of the field right now. Marc-Antoine Cameron having a hard time keeping pace with the 3 of Jason Hathaway in 3rd spot. LP Dumoulin has taken over 4th place once again. There's Matthew Kingsbury. Remember, he had the issues with the brakes in the King number 9, and he's sliding up the racetrack again. DJ Kennington is trying to weave his way through. Kennington is in a battle with Ryan Vargas for position, so the 28 and 17 will be for position. The 80 of Donald Teach is actually behind DJ Kennington in the running order because Donald Teach is a lap down.
Oh, just from that shot there, it looks like the 9 has his brake issues fixed, at least for the time being. He drove it right in there, real deep on the high side of corner 3.
Yeah, he was a driver when he was battling with the race leader to try and keep up to Kevin Lacroix when he went a lap down. Had a big wiggle up in turn 1 and 2 and had to gather it back up and try to hang on to that race car. He did, but you could just see how much of a handful that thing was with the fading brakes on the King number 9 as Hathaway is right tucked up underneath that rear spoiler of the Valvoline number 74 of Kevin Lacroix and now moves to the inside. We have a battle for the lead down the back straightaway. Ooh, that could have been nasty if Hathaway would have kept it in there. The opening presented itself, but Hathaway did give the 74 the benefit of the doubt. Now, I don't know if the 74 can ignore this pass attempt as Hathaway is right up to his door on the inside. They make contact. Not a huge bump, just a nudge there as the 3 car gets a great drive off the inside, and the Leland back Chevrolet Camaro of Jason Hathaway, your new race leader at the start-finish line. So only 2 drivers have led this race, and they've just swapped that position one more time. Hathaway was better than Lacroix on the short run after the last caution, and he's doing the same after that midway break. Should mention that Kennington has managed to get around the critical path security number 28 of Ryan Vargas. So Kennington up inside the top 5. He is back on the lead lap. We should mention he's setting his sights now on the 47 of LP Dumoulin, who is just in, you can see the 80 of Donald Teach is sandwiched in between those 2 cars. So Donald Teach a lap down, happy to stay there because if a caution does come out, he will be put back on the lead lap. It's a free pass car. Doesn't look like Andrew Ranger that much off the pace now after they replaced the battery in that GM High-A number 27 during that midway break, hanging on to the tail of the Crush It Iced Tea number 46 of Matthew Shirley. Vargas is the one who seems to be sliding back just a little bit.
Yeah, certainly. He's fading a little bit there, and the 9's knocking on the door there, and looks like the 9 has a little bit more pace.
A little bit more pop out of the Matthew Kingsbury King car, and a battle for the lead is not much of a battle at all. It was a quick change back for Kevin Lacroix. He got to the inside. Hathaway opened the door, and the 74 filled it, so Kevin Lacroix goes back to the top spot. Hathaway will slide back to the inside now. This battle's not over, not by any means. Hathaway is fighting hard to get back to the front of this field.
No, he's making the 74 work for it. He overdrove that corner in corner 3 there a little bit, but now he's got it calmed back down, and we're going to see the true pace here.
Boy, Kevin Lacroix thought he might be just able to ease his way through the second half of this race, but Jason Hathaway has showed up like a skunk to a picnic here, and he is spoiling the party. Kevin Lacroix was already planning at the front of the field, and this one is a tight one at the front of the Leland 250. And once again, Hathaway just a slight nudge on corner exit. And that is an important part of the racetrack. Off turn number 2, those cars seem to get very light just as you start to lay down the power.
Yeah, it really feels like you're coming up the hill off of corner 2, right onto that big, tall back straight right there.
Boy, that 3 car just manages to surge through the middle. Look at him close the gap in the middle part and an off for Jason Hathaway. That's where he's so much quicker than the 74 at this point in the game.
There goes DJ on the lap down car on the 80. Now he's going to complete this pass here shortly and then set his sights on the 47.
So Cameron continues to hold down third in the GM Pioneer number 96. Then it's the WeatherTech Dodge of LP Dumoulin. And what a difference a couple days makes for that team. LP Dumoulin had everything go wrong for that car in Edmonton and left so dejected, so unhappy. They went to work, put their heads down, as that team generally does, and what a turnaround for that team. Comfortably inside the top 5, and realistically with a shot at fighting for third place here with Marc-Antoine Cameron.
Yeah, he's got to be far more pleased mid-race here, and the car is really working for him. And that 96 is not driving away at all.
No, as a matter of fact, he's unable to close the gap on the two race leaders who have been battling back and forth. So under normal circumstances, that would be an opportunity for that gap to shrink. It has not. It's maintained as Cameron has settled into third spot. Kennington has managed to get around the lap-down car of Donald Teach, and he has a bit of a gap to make up to reach the next car that he'll be racing for position, and that will be the WeatherTech number 47 of LP Dumoulin. This is the top 3 now, all in one shot. Kevin Lacroix, your race leader. Jason Hathaway in the middle there in the 3 car. And then the 96 to Marc-Antoine Cameron. And just as we said, Cameron was happy to be lurking and waiting and giving that gap, as he's erasing that gap in a hurry. It's go time.
Absolutely. This is really where that car came alive in the first half of this race. As the laps tick down, as everyone gets a lot of heat in their tires, a little bit more wear on those tires that are not new anymore, the 96 car comes alive.
Now, we talked about the brakes and the brake issue and Matthew Kingsbury in the first half of this race. How much do you use the brakes here on a track like this? You know you'd be leaning on them a lot on a short track like Edmonton, but here, are you relying on them heavily, or do you lean on the banking a lot?
No, you're really hitting the brakes here. We're going to have a great shot here in a second with just how much pace these cars have down the back straightaway, and then you really see how hard they get on the brakes. Look at the 96 just drive it in there.
You can see the nose just stick to the asphalt as he drives it down into the turn. And yeah, Marc-Antoine Cameron has turned it up in the number 96, and he's chasing the top 2 as he opens a gap now on 4th place behind him. LP Dumoulin getting left behind just a little bit. Equal gap back to 5th place, DJ Kennington. As you can find your favorite driver in the running order across the top of your screen. But yeah, this is going to turn more into a battle for 2nd spot as we move away from that dice for the lead between Hathaway and Kevin Lacroix. Got a feel for Donald Teach. He's got a very fast race car. Unfortunately, the handling issues he had in the first half of the race put him a lap behind. So hopeful that he can get a caution at this point in the race, but he's able to maintain speed and keep pace with the race leaders and just a lap down to them. But Todd's been running up and down pit lane looking for the stories for us. Todd checks in with his Pinty's Pit Report. Todd?
Well, I'll give you a little bit of an update on the top 3 as Kevin Lacroix in that 74 continues to run out front. Has pulled himself a little bit of a gap now on the 3 of Jason Hathaway. Checked in with the team and they said at the break they changed just about everything, but only a little bit, and it has really come alive for them. Right behind those, the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron. Confidence is starting to grow on the faces of the 96 crew. They set this car up for a long run. That's what we're getting in the second half, and everyone up and down pit lane thinks that 96 car is coming.
They might not be wrong, because look at the gap now. It is nearly gone between the 2nd and 3rd place drivers. Both white noses of those race cars you can see on your screen as Hathaway holds off the number 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron. But it's interesting what Todd said is that the crew chiefs told him, we made little changes in a lot of spots, and that's really a secret to making these cars work, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. These days it's all about sway bar timing. You can't take a big swing at it or you're going to throw the whole thing out of whack. You've just got to really, really time where that sway bar engages in the corner, and that's what gives you all the grip.
Yeah, so gone are the days when you see a crew member go over the wall and jam a wrench in the back window and do 2 or 3 rounds and make wholesale changes. That's just going to upset the apple cart for these NASCAR Canada Series cars as they have really come a long way. And with limited rule changes, you and I were talking before we went to air today, just how much quicker these cars have managed to get over the years, and the rules package has realistically stayed the same.
Yeah, 100%. We were talking about at CTMP there. You know, it's seconds every couple years. You just expect now that the cars are going to be faster. You know, just from working on them in the off season.
That's incredible. And so yeah, nobody ever gives up. None of these teams are giving up and trying to make their packages better. And you can see now the 96, whatever changes they made during that break, definitely have brought this car to life a little bit more. We saw it was showing some speed in the long run in the first half of this race, and now showing even more speed. Marc-Antoine Cameron is. Jason Hathaway will give him lots of room in that inside group, but Hathaway's happy to use that second upstairs lane in the Fat Steady Speedway number 3. But while these two battle side by side, you can almost see the race leader start to stretch away.
Yeah, you see the 74 driving it in real hard there. You know his spotter and his crew are telling him, hey, you've got to make a gap here. The 96 is fast. See what you can do here while they're battling.
Yeah, so the 96 and 74 potentially running 1-2 as we come down to the end of this race. That's not going to be fireworks, is it? Two drivers recently put on probation. Will they remember? We don't know, but it's setting up the stage for potential fireworks here in the Leland 250 as Marc-Antoine Cameron completes that pass around Jason Hathaway. So a couple drivers from Quebec lead the field, and then the Ontario driver of Jason Hathaway and LP Dumoulin, another driver from Trois-Rivières, Quebec, in fourth spot. DJ Kennington calls Ontario home, rounding out the top 5, and then it's the only international driver in the field, Ryan Vargas from California, rounding out the top 6 in the critical path security number 28. Coming into lap traffic, that always offers an opportunity to shake things up. You're hopeful that the lap car will see you, but you're never fully sure they will.
And if your camera in there, you're hopeful that the lap car doesn't see Lacroix coming.
Well, they're running the same line at that point. Now Lacroix pulls to the outside. Yeah, that's Naismith who will pull to the inside. Rob Naismith out of Saskatchewan, and he tucks to the inside, eases off on the gas a little bit, so doesn't fight too hard going into the corner, so able to keep that car down low. Naismith, again, as we talked about off the top of the show, a veteran of the trucks here at Sutherland Automotive Speedway, also the late model division at this track, and now Matthew Shirley is just about half a straightaway ahead of your race leader, so he'll be being told to get going. It's time to start moving. The leader is coming.
Yeah, this race has gone green. There has been only that one caution for debris, so you can't rely on there being another caution. This is what you got.
So just looking at the last lap time from Kevin Lacroix to Marc-Antoine Cameron. Lacroix running a 15.6, and now Cameron in the 15.6 territory as well. Cameron was just about a 10th.5 quicker than the 74 the lap previous to that. So equal and a little bit in favor of the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron.
Yeah, he's got about 60 laps to go here. It's time to go. He's got to close that gap.
Hathaway keeping up with that 96 cars. We've seen he doesn't go away. He just can't quite keep the pace of the race leader. But Hathaway, once he gets past it, it's not like that car is falling off all that much. It's a battle of tenths of a second. And you think, well, you know, I'm giving up a tenth. That's not a big deal. Well, when you compound it over long green flag runs like we've seen here at Sutherland Automotive Speedway, this is exactly what you get.
Yeah, and the 74 and the 96, they're battling over hundredths of a second right now.
That's fantastic to watch the lap times, the Kevin Lacroix car, the Marc-Antoine Cameron car. So there's a 15.5 from Cameron to a 15.6 to Kevin Lacroix. So get another tenth of a second. The gap at the front is 1.3 seconds, so he still has a lot of tenths to go before he manages to get back up to that leader and challenge for the lead as Kevin Lacroix moves to the inside of Matthew Shirley and puts the 46 car a lap down once again. And so Kevin Lacroix with a cushion now of a lap car between himself and second place, Marc-Antoine Cameron. The top three really the class of the field, but out in front, it's been all Kevin Lacroix here in Saskatoon. We'll be back with more on Rev TV. And welcome back to the beautiful Sutherland Automotive Speedway on the outskirts of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. A third of a mile oval that opened in 2006 and first hosted NASCAR in 2009. And believe it or not, this is the 20th NASCAR race that has been held here at this beautiful oval. And for Kevin Lacroix, he is still trying to win his very first race here at Sutherland Automotive Speedway. And he has a lot of traffic just ahead of him, so this could be the variable in that perfect race that he was planning in his head.
Yeah, Lacroix is not liking the looks of all this lap traffic in front of him, and as we're watching the timing there, Cameron has just been picking away ever so slightly at that gap.
Oh, very much so. So it's gone from about 1.5 seconds to now under a second between Kevin Lacroix and Marc-Antoine Cameron. There you see the white nose of Cameron. The 80 car is Donald Teach, so he goes another lap down to your race leader, but they're not done with fast lap traffic just ahead. This is not going to be an easy pullover pass and go around the driver who's just ahead. This is going to be a tough battle to try and get around those lap cars. Under 50 to go now in the Leland 252, and that is important. This race has really cruised by. We've had a couple really long green flag runs for these drivers in these cars, so not a lot of opportunity to stretch your arms or grab a drink from your drink bottle. It's been all work all today.
Yeah, you've been bolted to the front of your seat here as the 74. He's gonna come up on the 27 here. That's not gonna be an easy car to pass. And then he's got the 9. And look at the 96. He's just ever so slightly closing that gap.
Another tenth of a second that time by. So it's 8/10 of a second now. Cameron trailing the Valvoline number 74 of Kevin Lacroix. Now they're in the same set of corners as Kevin Lacroix moves to the inside of the fellow GM Paille sponsored number 27 of Andrew Ranger. I say fellow because there's the other one, the 96, Marc-Antoine Cameron. Lacroix yet to win so far in 2025. The winners in the first 3 races, twice by Marc-Antoine Cameron, once by DJ Kennington. As Cameron comes into that lap traffic, and it looks like that's going to cost him a little bit of time too. So yeah, it's back to 0.8 of a second for Marc-Antoine Cameron. So he caught Andrew Ranger at just the wrong time.
Yeah, he came up on the inside and he couldn't use that whole front straightaway. He couldn't let the car drift out. So that's going to hurt him, but he's still, I think, slightly better race car than the 74, and the 74 just drove it in deep there and got it loose. And look at that gap disappear.
It's those little mistakes, right? And it doesn't take too much, but when the driver behind you is being perfect and able to hit all their marks, you make one little bobble, and that 0.8 of a second lead is going to disappear. Now 0.7 of a second as Cameron is lighting the wick on this candle, and he is coming. Now Matthew Kingsbury just ahead of your race leader, Kevin Lacroix. The Napa Racing 74 moves to the inside. Kingsbury will give him plenty of space down low. But it looks like the 74 just wants to use a little bit more real estate through the corners. He's got it pinched way down low. There you see he gets back into his proper racing line. Kingsbury will slot in behind your race leader, so he creates that buffer between leader and second place. Hathaway just coming into turn number 3, so not quite there to challenge for second. And Marc-Antoine Cameron, as Kingsbury got loose into turn number 1, and through goes Marc-Antoine Cameron.
Yeah, that's going to hurt his exit there a little bit. He still has Kingsbury on the outside.
Now he manages to clear him, and the difference back to 0.8 of a second. So it closes a little bit, and then it opens back up as they work their way through lap traffic. Look at that battle there just ahead. Ryan Vargas and DJ Kennington. The 17 of Kennington leading the 28 of Ryan Vargas. Again, both those cars prepared out of the same shop. That is a battle for 5th and 6th, just ahead of your race leader. You see it coming onto the front straightaway. Kennington with a nose on the rookie, Ryan Vargas, as they cross the stripe.
Yeah, and we just caught it there on the camera there. Last lap there, the 74 got all kinds of loose going through the corner there. And look at that gap. That is tight now.
It'll probably be half a second this time across the stripe, maybe even less as they move across. It is 0.6 of a second, so a little bit more than half a second between Kevin Lacroix and Marc-Antoine Cameron. And now you have that battle, the 2-car battle, side by side, just ahead of Kevin Lacroix. No doubt he's on the radio to his spotter saying, tell those cars to get single file. I don't need anything to hold me up.
Yeah, and both spotters, both crew chiefs are on the horn there with the 74 and the 96 saying, burn it to the ground. We got 25 laps to go.
Into the final throws here of the Leland Industries 250 at Sutherland Automotive Speedway. Kevin Lacroix has led the majority of the laps in this race after starting on pole, and now he has a significant challenge in the final few laps of this one. This is that battle for 5th and 6th. DJ Kennington has it. He has 5th anyway in the Castrol Edge Dodge as Ryan Vargas is fighting what looks to be a little bit of a loose race car, trying to hold it down low. That car is just floating back and forth, but they do get single file just as the race leader enters the chat.
I'm just going to sit back and watch this. How is the 74 going to get through this?
Boy, he's going to have to navigate very carefully, and he does. He moves to the inside of Vargas, maybe a little nudge to the rookie to let him know that the leader was there. You saw a handful of wheel in the front window of Ryan Vargas as he jumped up into that outside groove. Obviously, that car not quite as happy up there, but the leader does go through. Now, Marc-Antoine Cameron will follow him through with now 21 laps to go as they cross the stripe this time. DJ Kennington holding off a charge from the leader, so trying to stay on the lead lap is Kennington, and he's not going to go away quietly. Kennington not blocking, just running a very fast time and making it difficult for the leader, but Cameron is right there now on the back bumper of the 74. 20 to go that time across the stripe. And we got a race on our hands here at Sutherland Automotive Speedway. So Kennington up into the outside groove, and now he will slot back into that battle and just rekindle things with Ryan Vargas. They pick up like they never left off, those two drivers battling for 5th and 6th, just now a lap down to your race leader as Lacroix has a clear track ahead of him, but does he have the speed left in that car? Or does Marc-Antoine Cameron have a little bit left in reserve? He's got to use it up soon. There's only 18 to go.
Yeah, both guys just, you know, driving these cars to an inch of their life. You can see the 74 bobble off the corner there. Not bobble, just get a little bit free off the corner. He's giving it all the gas pedal that car will take.
You see Cameron is able to keep that car just a little bit lower than the 74. It's happier right along that yellow line to the inside of the racetrack. Lacroix has altered his line, especially here in 3 and 4. He's up about a half a groove now off the light gray area, but that car seems to be working well. Now Cameron wiggles under braking into turn number 1. Boy, did he ever drive it in a ton. 0.2 of a second that time by, but it is realistically less than a car length between your leader and second place. Couple of Quebec drivers at the front of the field. Kevin Lacroix, Marc-Antoine Cameron. As they come through, the laps continue to tick down. This will be a 2-horse race to decide it here in the Leland 250.
And you know the 96, he's thinking, hey, I got to get this pass done clean. I've got to get it done early. He's, you know, essentially right now leading the points. He doesn't want a penalty hanging over his head.
No, he lost 6 points because of the infraction that played out in Edmonton just a few short days ago. That decision levied only earlier today, and the loss of 6 points, and up to the back bumper and a quick little kiss goes Marc-Antoine Cameron, and that's more than a kiss. That's a big nudge as Cameron got to the inside and almost moved the 74, allowed Kevin Lacroix to gather it back up, and now a tire rub on the Valvoline 74.
Here we go, 10-lap shootout.
10 to go at Sutherland Automotive Speedway, and boy, you are in for a treat as we get set to settle this one between Kevin Lacroix and Marc-Antoine Cameron. That time, Cameron not close enough to make a challenge happen. I'm not sure if that nudge into turn number 1 is deliberate, because he did back off and let the 74 gather it back up. I think he just drove it in a ton, and the car got a little loose. He had to chase it up the hill to keep it straight, and contact was made, but Cameron is trying to figure it out. You can almost see the gears moving in his head. How am I going to complete this pass with this car that is so very, very good in front of me?
Yeah, the only real advantage with the 96 is he's able to keep that car pinched down a little bit lower than the 74, but the 74 still gets a good drive off the corner.
Does get a good drive, but that one wiggled a little bit. You see the back end starting to get a little bit happy. It's a pleasant dog as the tail wags on the 74 of Kevin Lacroix off of turn number 2. Now, as they will cross the stripe, it will be 5 to go, and there's another nudge. Now Cameron to the lead here in the Leland 250 with 5 laps to go, and a little payback coming from Kevin Lacroix. Cameron gathers it back up. Lacroix is going to go back to the inside, and again another bump as Cameron moves to the high side. Lacroix back to the lead now with 4 to go. The Valvoline number 74 took exception to the bump and run and gave a couple back to Marc-Antoine Cameron. Both drivers remained in the fray and set their sights on the final few laps here at Sutherland Automotive Speedway. Lacroix, your leader. Cameron in second. Does Cameron have enough left to mount a challenge? Coming up on 2 to go.
He's so good on the entrance to 3, right to the middle there, and he eats up that gap.
Into turn 1, not quite close enough as they hit the bump on the inside of 1 and down the back chute. You see the 74, that drive he gets. Here's the 96 closing the gap. He is going to make something happen. White flag is up. One more lap to go. Kevin Lacroix through 1 and 2 for the final time. Cameron is right there, down the back chute. Final opportunity at 3 and 4. There's the nudge. Up the hill goes Kevin Lacroix, and to the checkers goes Marc-Antoine Cameron. 3-time winner here in 2025.
Oh, what a finish between those two. That is some great racing. All these fans got their money's worth.
Oh, boy. If you left early, you missed a bunch. Kevin Lacroix was so dominant through that entire race. They played bumper tag. They settled it down with 5 to go. And then the final set of corners, a knock from the 96 on the 74. What a finish. We'll gather things up. We'll bring you back for the chat with your winner in Victory Lane. And welcome back to Sutherland Automotive Speedway in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. And there you can see Todd Lewis down on the track as he is getting set to bring you what could be more fireworks from Victory Lane, or do we have a Victory Lane at this point, Todd? Because that was some rough and tumble racing that we didn't expect here.
We didn't necessarily expect this sort of thing, but the finish is under review, I am told, by NASCAR officials. They are going to review the video right now. The checkered flag is being held. They sent Marc-Antoine Cameron around to the backstretch to hold until a decision is made about how they are going to decide this race and what the call is going to be. But they are reviewing video right now, and they will make a call and a decision about who the winner is of the Leland Industries 250.
So an interesting turn of events here. We talked about the storyline off the top of the show, and it was the one that we were going to watch. Two drivers who got a little overly aggressive in Edmonton, and both were under probation. It just so happened to be both of those drivers at the end of the race who were under probation who got into it again.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see the replay here. Here we go.
So that's coming up to the checkered flag. So that's after the bump and run happened in turn number 3. That is how they crossed the stripe. So no question, that was the way they followed across the stripe. It wasn't that close a finish, but here is where it happened. In the entrance to turn number 3, and you pointed it out, that's where the 96 was better than the 74.
I mean, that's where he had to get it done. He moves the 74 way up the racetrack. I don't know. You know, the 74 moved him twice, a couple laps before. To me, it's a little bit of give and take there. That's, you know, they're deciding how they're going to race each other.
That's true, and they didn't wreck each other, so that's important, but the letter of the rule says that causing damage to a car, maybe not with wrecking, could result in a penalty. So this is what NASCAR is reviewing right now, and I mean, I'm just going to say I'm glad I'm not a NASCAR official sitting in a tower waiting to make this decision. But Todd, do we have a decision at this point? Has there been word from the tower?
The decision has just come down. The 74 of Kevin Lacroix is your winner. The 96 is penalized for rough driving. And you have to understand that this is the result of what happened a few days ago in Edmonton. He was slapped with a penalty post-race. He did move Kevin Lacroix, who bumped him out of the way, who was leading the dominant car in this race. Kevin Lacroix is on his way to victory lane.
What a turn of events here in Saskatoon and Sutherland Automotive Speedway. As you can see, the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron is now driving off the back straightaway towards the paddock area and into victory lane comes, as Todd mentioned, the dominant car of the day. Kevin Lacroix started on pole. He led the most laps. He was able to pass cars almost seemingly at will until the last lap, but now he gets it back.
Yeah, I mean, the 96 worked his butt off all day. He drove from the back. He got there. He did pass him, and then the 74 got into him, and he got back into him. Wow, what a turn of events.
Kevin Lacroix jumps out. Let's head back down to victory lane with Todd Lewis. Todd?
Yeah, well, certainly one of the most interesting exits from the car and celebrations here in victory lane. Kevin, you had to wait a couple of extra moments for NASCAR officials to review the video and have a look at it. Clearly, you did have the dominant car in tonight's race.
Yeah, car was good. Maybe when I saw the 96 coming, we see the board there, so when we see the 96 coming, like for sure I used the rear tires a little bit too hard, and at the end I was missing just a little bit of grip, but we gave some action to the fans, and that's what we want, so that's good.
Lots of action here tonight. How about a few words en français for your fans in French?
C'est le fun de voir que le travail est récompensé. La voiture était super bonne. On a eu beaucoup de malchance cette saison, puis sortir ici, ça sera pas la victoire la plus populaire, mais écoute, il se passe tellement de choses de course en course qu'on va la prendre celle-là.
After a couple of runner-up finishes here in Saskatoon, Kevin Lacroix is your winner.
Another first-time winner here in 2025 for Kevin Lacroix as he visits victory lane. He's had a fast car at several different stops over the course of this season, but he parks it here today at Sutherland Automotive Speedway. But again, this one will be looked back upon. Anybody who was here, anybody who was watching, remember that race when NASCAR did that. And remember when Marc-Antoine Cameron and Kevin Lacroix had that finish as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Great finish. The fans can't be disappointed here. We're going to go to Todd here with Jason Hathaway.
Hathaway with a solid third-place finisher has made his way over to our Todd Lewis. Todd?
Yeah, last. This is live television.
Jason, yeah, this is live television, all right. You had a car that was going away in the first half, but your team said they changed everything a little bit, and it really worked out for you.
Yeah, come right to life there. I mean, we were decent in the first half, but we just couldn't keep up with Kevin. Just like 3 or 4 small little tweaks, and I said, let's have at it and see what we got. So it was a good run for us. I mean, we had a lot of fun, and you know, Leland 250 here in Saskatoon, great event. It was fun. Sorry.
It was fun, and it's got you all choked up.
Yeah, again.
Congratulations, Jason Hathaway.
And we should say a second-place finish for Jason Hathaway based on the penalty that was levied to Marc-Antoine Cameron. At least according to our unofficial timing and scoring at this point right now, looks like Cameron will come home in 4th spot at the end of this Leland 250. But you saw the emotion for Jason Hathaway and just how much this race means. Of course, that team racing with a heavy heart all season with the loss of Ed Hackinson in the offseason. Let's go down to your third-place finisher, and what a turnaround from the last race to this one for the driver who comes home on the final step of the podium. Todd?
No question. Definitely a much better effort here from the 47 team tonight. You guys really dug in after that last race in Edmonton, found some of the problems that bothered you, and a better finish tonight.
Yeah, we did better with that 47 WeatherTech Omnify Benmar car. Benoit Lagunière and my whole team did work really hard after Edmonton to improve the car. P1 this morning in practice, they didn't qualify where we wanted, but we still lack on the long run. I think we'll work on that car, make it better for the long runs, and make it more comfortable. But thanks to the fans, everybody was here tonight. I think they had a good show, and we want to come back stronger. We need to win ASAP.
Well done.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, for sure. If there's a driver in the field who would love to visit Victory Lane again, it's the driver of the WeatherTech number 47. He'll have a pretty good opportunity to our next stop, a road course at Calabogie.
For sure. That's going to be, well, who knows how it's going to go, really. He's going to have a great opportunity there, and the race that he really wants to win, GP3R.
Oh, absolutely. Hometown race. But Kevin Lacroix celebrating with his crew in Victory Lane. His dad, Sylvain, standing right beside him as they do the hat dance to get the photos taken in Victory Lane here in the NASCAR Canada Series at Sutherland Automotive Speedway. But again, we can talk about this race. We can talk about the dominance of the 74 car, but it was the race that nearly slipped away for that team. And admittedly, it was Kevin Lacroix who got nervous watching the 96 come, and he used it up just a little too much.
Yeah, you could see he was really overdriving the car a little bit, and then the 96 was just so disciplined and getting to his bumper.
Yeah, we talked about how two drivers were coming into this race on probation. They might have to play with kid gloves. They didn't. Kevin Lacroix and Marc-Antoine Cameron went to work and definitely hit on each other again here at Sutherland Automotive Speedway. An exciting race for all of us. For Todd and Gary, I'm Dave Bradley. Thanks very much for watching NASCAR Canada Series here on Rev TV. And this is an example of how this field looked coming to green just a little while ago. And then we saw the dominance of the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. Some battles deep through the field, but Lacroix really was the class of the field. And this was sort of a snapshot of how this race played out for the early part of this one. DJ Kennington was strong in the early going. So was that driver, the number 80 of Donald Teague in the Gavois Construction number 80, but he drifted back after an early caution. Jason Hathaway in the outside group found some magic in the Fast Eddie Speedway Leland number 3, and then the 74 came back. That car worked so good down low. That's where the 74 driver, Kevin Lacroix, was able to make up ground down low, and that's where he completed that pass to retake the lead on Jason Hathaway. Again, this was all in the first half of the Leland 250 here at Sutherland Automotive Speedway as we take a look back on this one. But it was action-packed, especially at the end. Marc-Antoine Cameron may have crossed the line first, but a penalty sends him deep in the field. The win goes to the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. Once again, a big congratulations to the Napa Valvoline team, the 74 team, for Todd Lewis and Gary Klutz. I'm Dave Bradley. Thanks very much for watching the Leland 250. We've been live from Sutherland Automotive Speedway just outside of Saskatoon here on Rev TV. We'll catch you next time. The next race back on a road course, and it'll be the first time at Calabogie Motorsport Park. We'll see you then.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.